Kali. Let's see how we're doing. I think we're getting to be live. Maybe. Let's... Hello, everybody. Just a second, doing all the things I should have done earlier that I did not, but I am working on right now, like making sure all of my videos are live, which I think I'm doing. I think. Oh, hello. Okay. Looks like, yes, everybody let me know that I am live. What is up, everybody? How is everyone doing? Justin, the Anthony, Billary Clinton, General Mattel, Ola, by the way, welcome. I don't think I've ever met you before. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Jimmy, good to see you again, man. I remember you from, our Boston brother from before. And Raul coming in hot with the questions, 7-Up or Sprite. And I guess I would say 7 Sprite. I'm not a big drinker of either, but you know, if forced to choose, I'd go Sprite. I hope that was the right answer. I'm gonna go grab my bong and we'll get started right now. Excuse me for just a moment. Oh, I forgot to fill this up. I'm back. All right, so I'm just going to fill this up right here real quick with some more of this Tropicana cake that I've really, really enjoyed. Still smells like an angel's butthole. Shedding weed everywhere. So how's everybody doing tonight? I'm losing weed. That's okay. We got plenty. Lord knows. So it looks like we have some consensus in the chat that 7-Up is the better of the two sodas. 7-Up, I think, is owned by the Dr. Pepper company and A&W. Dr. Pepper's such a weird thing. It's not owned by Coke. It's often associated with Coke, but sometimes you also see it in Pepsi fountain machines, but they're their own company. Sometimes bottled by Coke, but they're their own, them and 7-Up. Yummy. Let's see. Peter Griffin, welcome, Peter, just said, I just found out Coca-Cola was started by a man being stabbed. I did not know that about Coca-Cola. I mean, of course, I know its origins as, and I mean, Coca-Cola still uses cocaine leaves. They're like the only, I think, legal product in the world outside of some medicines that can actually use coca leaves. It has like this special license to do so. Woo! The Anthony says he's got himself a job at an interview at a smoke shop. Man, that's awesome. Congratulations. I hope that interview goes well, Anthony. Remember you had interviewed at your sushi place. A smoke shop, hopefully they have a pretty good employee discount, right? You can take advantage of that. Let's see. Jimmy Gag says, any ideas? Can I get bud shipped or vapes? Because it's federal now. Well, it's still not, I mean, there is federally, weed is still a class 1 narcotic. And because of that, the Postal Service, a federal department of, part of the federal government, it is still very much illegal to use. I think it's illegal to ship weed even via not USPS, via private delivery companies. Interstate commerce and all that. Oh, so the Anthony is letting me know that 7-Up is a Selena's, a separate company. Rhett, welcome back to the chat, Rhett. Sorry, I said rat. What is going on with you, man? I'm doing pretty well. Thanks for asking. Billary says, do you do dabs? I do. I haven't done a dab in a while. No qualms against dabs. I'm thinking about upgrading a rig at some point. Maybe getting a Puffco Peak or one of those little, what are they called? Mini rigs. One of the ones that basically has, the nail has a current going through it. So it's always ready to go. You don't have to heat it up. But I haven't done any dabs in a while. I have a little silicone dab rig that I haven't busted out. General Mattel says, I've got this, man. Well, thanks, man. He says, do research on the shop on Yelp. Always do your research about any shop at a time. Although, I try to avoid the Yelp race. I've got to find the best of all the things kind of Yelp model. One, I don't really trust, Yelp to surface what is the best of things. And two, just that kind of like FOMO, maybe there's another better taco stand out there somewhere than the one I'm going to, and that's the one I should go to. I'm more adventurous. I'm willing to give things a try. But my partner is a big Yelper. Okay. Vegas, welcome, man. Glad you could join us. Justin says Coca-Cola was going to do some type of CBD drink, I believe. Justin, I do not doubt it for a second. I'm surprised they're not already in the market. I assume they probably will get into that market at some point. It's too much money to leave on the table. My guess is they'll probably just buy a company wholesale at some point and, get into the CBD game that way. But I don't know. I assume at some point all your favorite sort of food conglomerate companies, your Nabiscos, your Nestle's. Well, Nabisco's Mondelez anyways. I don't know. There are only like 5 people who are selling you food in this world. And they're all probably going to start selling you CBD at some point too. So, let's see where we at. Uncle Ruckus says, do I like Burt Bacharach? Why do birds suddenly appear every time I am near? Is that Burt Bacharach? The only thing I actually really truly know about Burt Bacharach is his cameos in the Austin Powers movies. That he's like a crooner. Tom A asks, Wheats. Excuse me, what's good? Oh, man, nothing too much. This weed's pretty good, I gotta be honest. But other than that, the normal. So, getting caught up on chat here. Peter Griffin says, do you vape reviews write what flavor carts do you recommend? Um, Whatever your favorite strain is probably going to be good to go for in terms of what cart brands to go for. Personally, I like the pod-based systems the best myself. Paxes, Steezies, plug and plays. But what should you go? Standard 510. Select's good. Orchid's good. Um, Raw Garden, Sherbinsky's, anything with the full spectrum is good. In terms of flavor, whatever your favorite strain is probably going to have the same flavor terpene profile in its concentrate form. Okay. Justin says you should get a glass rig because the portable e-nails always break no matter the brand. I've owned a Dabadoo bolt and the heating rods always detach from the solder. And that sucks. Okay, I appreciate that advice, Justin. As a lazy person, the idea of not having to sit there and torch something for a while, and also I'm clumsy and I'm afraid I'm gonna burn a place down. I do actually. On this very desk that I'm on right now, there is a huge char mark from where a torch did top over at one point and just went scored the desk. So yes, I appreciate the advice, Justin. I'm gonna keep looking into them. Maybe there are some ones that are super reliable. I know people love that Puffco Peak, but it's different. I mean, it's still for concentrates, but it's a different system altogether. Okay. Vegas says Coca-Cola recently bought over 100 acres here in Nevada to farm hemp. Holy shit. Yeah, well, that's not a surprise at all that they're trying to get into that game as quickly as they can. There's going to be some money in it. Osvaldo, welcome by the way, Osvaldo says, how do you stop being paranoid when you take edibles? Well, Osvaldo, I don't really get paranoid from weed. When I first started smoking, I would get the kind of small little paranoia of like, oh God, is a cop gonna come? Is somebody smelling this? You know, just little flashes of paranoia, nothing that I would dwell on. And I don't experience any paranoia on weed, really. The only kind of, and I've said this many times, the only kind of paranoid thoughts I ever get when doing weed, even in the most vast quantities, is existential anxiety or paranoia, like, you know, I get very, I think about death a lot when I'm high. And this sort of, again, the existential paranoia of like, oh shit, I'm going to die one day. That's pretty much the only paranoia I get at this point. So yeah, I'm sorry that you experience it. I think it is a thing that people do get over, you know, with experience. But I don't have super great advice for you because I've never really had the paranoia, fortunately for me. Okay, Peter Griffin says, interesting. I wonder why they haven't yet. I assume referring to Coke. I'm not sure why, because they are gonna. It's just easier to buy something than to grow it yourself. You know, just they've got the money. They can wait for somebody else to make a good product and then just buy it. That's what Coke does. That's what all big companies do. Uncle Ruckus says smoke crack. That is a thing that some people do. I was very surprised by crack. I've never smoked crack. I've never used cocaine. I don't think I ever want to do either of those things, to be entirely honest. But when I first heard, and I didn't know this until I was in my 20s, I didn't know that crack was like a very short experience. It's like a 15-minute thing. Like you it's over and done with super quickly. You might have some psychosis in that 15 minutes, and you might have some rapid some bad come down effects after. So you might just keep smoking crack. But if you smoke crack and you don't smoke more of it, it's over in like 15 minutes. I did not know that. That is not an invitation or a suggestion or an intimation that, because it's not that long, you should try it. Not at all. I mean, nobody should really try anything that is physically addictive without good cause, because why run the risk? Things that are merely psychologically addictive are hard enough to break from. So I don't know if you need the sort of extra incentive there. Peter Griffin says sativa or indicas for vapes. Peter Griffin, I would say indicas. That's really a cop-out. I have a large bitch moaning session about strains and indica sativa. I won't really get into it here. I will just briefly say, as a blanket sample, if you put all the indicas up on a board and all the sativas chances are I probably like indica a little bit better, but it doesn't. Yeah, just go with whatever you enjoy, whatever makes you feel good, whatever makes you feel the way you want to feel at any given time. And if you have a strain already, stick with that, because again, one person's strain is going to be very different from somebody else's. There is no such thing as consistency in that. I mean, obviously. Okay, The Public Awakening, welcome, my Scottish friend, says, just joined, thoughts on terpene additives, synth versus plant-derived. Sorry if you covered this already. I don't mind them. I know some people hate even terpene additives in their sort of concentrates. They do make you can make extract some terpenes or add some terpenes to make some very artificially some suspiciously weirdly flavored things. But I don't really have a problem with them if they are. I prefer if they were plant derived instead of synthetic. Even then, the more natural something is, the less likely it is to eventually give you cancer. I'm not saying that synthetic terpenes will do that, but they do not bother me is my answer to that question, The Public Awakening. I understand if some people are freaked out by them and want just, their concentrate to be pure distillate without any additional additives, which is totally understandable. But if you like flavors and, especially heavily terpene profiles weed strains, you're not going to get that sort of flavor in concentrates without terpene additives, very likely. Okay. Galaxy Wave Fiji, welcome by the way, and he says, why do I look like a douche nozzle? That's a great question, Galaxy Wave Fiji. I would guess it would probably have to do with the fact that my mother and father are probably very ugly people, and when they spread their genes, that those unfortunate genetic qualities that aren't so aesthetically pleasing in their facial features got passed down to me, and my ugliness is just a fault of bad breeding. Don't worry though, the physical side of my genetic sort of deficiencies, it pales in comparison to the sort of more internal or mental deficiencies that I have. So I hope that answers your question. I look like a douche nozzle because my parents are ugly. Okay. Anne Frank, says, I took Adderall, but I have school tomorrow. It's 10 p.m. on the East Coast. How do I sleep? Anne Frank, I would say take some vitamin C. A lot of vitamin C that will help the acidity will help neutralize the amphetamines. I'm pretty sure that is true. I think that is true. So take some vitamin C, whether that be, if you have some vitamin C pills, drink some orange juice, do whatever you need to do, get some vitamin C in you. And then, maybe take some Benadryl, and also then maybe do a lot of weed, and that will maybe calm down the Adderall stimulant. I'm not. It's not for me, but it helps a lot of people. So I hope, Miss Frank, that some vitamin C, some weed, and some Benadryl will help you chill right out. When did you take your Adderall medication? It probably depends what the formulation is and how long ago you took it. And probably how much of a tolerance you have to the medication, too. Drug. Whatever. I don't know if you're taking recreationally or because you have a prescription. And I'm not judging either way. Okay. Christopher Runick. Hello, Chris. Says, hi, Wheats from San Diego, Tijuana. Well, welcome, Christopher. You are a couple hours south of me up here in Long Beach. Thanks for joining in. Peter Griffin says, half-baked, everything is better on weed, is a good scene. Half-baked is a stoner classic. I have watched it several times under the effects. I think I saw it, probably watched it maybe by fifth or sixth time getting high. Anyways, I'm going to go fill up the volcano bag, and I will see you guys at that other camera in just a second. I'm here. So I have a new volcano oven that's a lot deeper than my other one. I didn't put in more material. Fresh bag. Ooh, it's prom night. Oh, that's a weird fit. Let's give it a try. New oven, new bag, same weed. Oh yeah. You can tell it's weed from the pixels and the fact that I've seen a few shops in my day. Wonderful. Oh, fuck. Well, I just spilled a lot of weed. You can see this oven design, not so bueno, but, you win some, you lose some. Here is how much AVB I've got right here. This is, I don't know, about a month's worth of reefer. Probably about just about an ounce and a quarter in there would be my guess. Ready to make some butter. I just purchased some European style butter, high butter fat content earlier today to make some new cookies with. All right, I'm gonna move back over there. Oh, Well, I class it up. Let's class up the joint first. Look at that. See ya. I'm back. Okay. Shit. I have probably a lot of chat to catch up on. I see I'm 10 minutes behind. Justin says no smoke DMT. LOL. I would love to do some DMT. My beloved, I talked so much about that Michael Pollan book, How to Change Your Mind. He does DMT at one point, like literally straight off the back of a toad, not synthetic, not synthetically derived, and talks about his experience. I would love to try it. I'm kind of a square, and I don't know people who sell drugs other than the ones you can now purchase legally. Okay. Uncle Ruckus says, I think he looks like someone you'd see at Woodstock, but it's all groovy, man. I assume you're saying me. Well, thanks, dude. Galaxy Wave Fiji says, you should do call-ins. I want to counsel you. I'm certified. Galaxy Wave Fiji. Okay. What are you certified in? Are you a therapist? Groovy. I'm not familiar. I speak English, not that slur for Romani. So I'm not going to say that word. Peter Griffin says, it's like spice. I've never tried it, but it sounds lame. Sounds the same. Are you referring to DMT? It sounds very different than what people call spice, or what I've heard of as spice, synthetic weed. It's very, very different from what I understand. But I've done neither, so I can't really speak to it. Uncle Ruckus says Richard Dreyfuss in Jaws here. Oh, is that the look you're giving me? Is Richard Dreyfuss in Jaws? Ooh. That's very kind. This is, I hope this doesn't come across as like a stealth brag, but I'll say it anyways. I don't think I look like anybody. I'm too sort of troll-ish, ogreish to look like a real human. But I've had people say I look like a young Chris Christopherson and a young, this one feels like an asshole thing to say, and I'm sorry, but I'm sorry, but I've had people say I look like a young Jack Nicholson. I mean, I think I look more like a young Shrek, but you know, I have just heard those comparisons before. I don't understand them. Okay, Galaxy Wave Fiji says the dude is probably barefoot right now. I got some socks that have, ooh, don't look how dirty they are though. But they got dogs on them. I think they're Rottweilers on my socks. Those are pretty good socks. Okay. Peter Griffin says, I like the one-hitter quitters as like the smoking device. Christopher says, 3-part question. Can we talk about travel with edibles? Is the company Chiba Chew still in business? And strongest edible 2020? Yes, can we talk about travel with edibles? What kind of travel are you talking about, Christopher? Each kind comes with its own set of challenges. The easiest, obviously, being a car, and that one is just simply don't be an idiot in other states with weed on you, and you should be totally fine. Don't, speed, don't smoke in the car, obviously. God damn it. And you should be totally fine, but you got to be careful. Airplane, if it's in a checked bag, oh, you said edibles too. Sorry, Christopher. You weren't even talking about other forms of weed. I don't want to give you this advice and then you have something go wrong. If you put edibles in a checked bag, there is practically the chances of getting caught are so low, and if you're coming from a legal state, even though it is federal because it's the TSA, the chances that you're going to have some kind of major criminal kind of fallout is very unlikely. Yeah, you're just don't be stupid about edibles in a in a checked bag, and you'll be totally fine bringing them wherever you want to go, because they're not looking for those. They don't. The TSA doesn't really care. The TSA, I am certain, would much rather the government just declare weed legal tomorrow so that they don't have to fucking deal with it anymore. I'm sure it's a goddamn headache for them, and they're probably just dying, whoever heads up the TSA, for weed to be legal so that way they can just not have to have that headache for them anymore. Galaxy Wave Fiji says, sorry, Christopher, is Chiba Chew still in business? I don't know. I have not. I have seen products last year in stores, but it was probably a while ago. I would be surprised if they were out of business. They're one of the oldest edible company, one of the oldest weed brands in existence, basically. And strongest edible 2020. I haven't had a lot of new edibles in 2020. I have been enjoying a Mary's THC 1000 milligram tincture, and that is very strong. And I'll just go with that because that's 1,000 milligrams, and it makes it for an easy answer. Galaxy Wave Fiji says, I am a walnut. Okay. Not sure what a walnut exactly is, but I can be one. Okay. I'm gonna have to skip some chat. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just gonna catch up. Jason Andrew, welcome, Jason. Talking about this kind of stuff that I'm just gonna have to burn past. I'm sorry. It looks like poor Josh got taken for a ride from carts, and I'm sorry. That sucks. Aim Kiwan, welcome. Blemzer XD, welcome. Welcome, everyone. Who's been here? Okay. Space Dude, have you tried psychedelic mushrooms? I've answered this question a few times, Space Dude. I'm not, great question. Not complaining. Just apologizing to me who's heard it before. I've done mushrooms once. They had very little effect on me. It was a dose equivalent to, I took the same, if not more, than other people in my party who experienced a lot more than I did. The effects I did have were fun, just sort of a slight iridescent sparkle, maybe, like, the sun just kind of had a different... it reflected light in a sort of more interesting way, or a brighter way, and slightly expanded thought, making different connections, but not a lot. I have done LSD, however, about, I think, 4 times now. Never had any hallucinations, never had any ego death, never had any, auditory nor visual hallucinations. Slight visual distortions, ever so slight. If you look at a wall for long enough, it'll kind of start to shimmer, that stuff. A lot of the expanded thinking aspect, which I really liked, the making novel connections, thinking about things in new ways, really enjoyed. But I took several, what I was told were prodigious doses, way more than other people that I was taking it with, and was always the least affected person. For whatever reason, it seems like psychedelics just don't have an incredibly strong effect on me, which is unfortunate because I would love, I would love to experience some of the more, even scary aspects of psychedelics, the sort of more frightening things. But I've never come close to that for whatever reason. I have never started to lose grip of reality or space or time or location, anything like that. The way I've described it is I've never done a psychedelic where I wouldn't have felt comfortable. Like, I'm going to say this, I wouldn't, but like driving. That's how conscious and aware and, with it I was. I would never drive on LSD, don't worry. But, I would be totally fine having a conversation with any random person. I would be fine, like, I would have been fine going to the bank every single time I was on a psychedelic. So I've never had a very intense reaction, which is unfortunate. If I can find a more reliable supply of psychedelics, whether LSD or magic mushrooms, I would be willing to go, try very high dosage, insanely high dosages of things to see if maybe I could have those experiences. But yeah, for whatever reason, just not as affected by psychedelics as I would like to be. Okay. Peter Griffin says, Jesus from The Walking Dead. I have heard that before. People have said I do look like Jesus from The Walking Dead. I've heard that one as well. Christopher says, never mind what they say you look like. You are a super cool dude. Well, thanks, Christopher. I appreciate you saying that, man. That is very generous of you. Hillary Clinton says, I look hot as hell. Well, thank you very much, Hillary Clinton. And I've got to let you know, your name is turning me on immensely. I cannot think of anything more sort of sexually arousing to me than a Bill and Hillary Clinton chimera. Oh, man. You could get fucked and buy it and fuck it at the same time. Wow. I'm just thinking about it, man. A Hillary Clinton chimera to have as your personal sex bot. Galaxy Wave Fiji says, listen here, cosmonaut. Misspelling of cosmonaut. Don't do the forbidden fruit. You're not some spiritual quest. Not on some spiritual quest. Okay, you're just a dungeon wizard. Okay, Galaxy Wave Fiji, I will take your advice. I will do no forbidden fruit, no spiritual quest. Justin says, my brother read that book referring to how to change your mind. I've freebased DMT and it was crazy. The walls started to hum and geometric shapes started to fall into my forehead as I was falling into a black hole. Justin, that's the kind of shit I want to experience. That to me does not sound, that sounds incredibly alluring. I would love to experience something like that, but never anywhere close to anything, approaching that. So Peter Griffin says, don't drive while high and have your license. Don't drive high. Don't drive with weed. Don't drive under any kind of intoxicant of any variety. What I would honestly hope is just don't drive. I would love for anybody to never have to drive again. Either public transportation, autonomous vehicles in a sort of Uber-like model, whatever it is, the sooner we can have people not drive, the sooner we can remove human beings from the transportation equation, well, that will be the day that the number 1, number 2, or number 3 fatalities for any given year will be gone, which is traffic accidents. and so much heartbreak and despair will go away so quickly. And things like drunk driving and just will cease to be a source of tragedy and heartbreak for the world. So let's just all hope that we can be at a place where you can say don't drink and drive, but that sounds ridiculous because why would you be driving anyways? Because your car just drives you wherever it is that you want to go. Why would you ever be driving a car? How crazy is that? How dangerous is that? There is an economic... The fact that the U.S. government hasn't put doesn't spend $100 billion a year on research for autonomous vehicles is fucking nuts. The the immediate sort of benefits and the rapid, readily apparent benefits, economic benefits from having autonomous cars, would make up for that. And then all the small side weird things that you never consider about how driving impacts the economy would start to go away. Things like traffic fatalities. But we'll get there eventually, I hope, unless we all die. Okay. Justin says, I opened my eyes, referring to his DMT trip. I said, I opened my eyes a few minutes into it, and my friend was his normal outlines shape, but he was filled in with different colors and shapes. He was offering me another hit, but it felt like he asked 1,000 times. Sounds awesome. I mean, a little scary, but in that way that it also sounds incredible. Uncle Ruckus says we should get high on edibles and then take LSD. I'm 100% on board, Ruckus. Quentin, welcome Quentin, says, sup man, you should add some sound effects when you're switching between cameras. I don't know, just a thought. It's a great thought, Quentin. Such a great thought that I'm going to do a little bit of this. Damn it. I thought I had a sound effect, but it didn't work. It would have been so cool had it worked. So instead, I'll just do this.
That's fucking bullshit.
Okay. That is a great idea, Quentin. I keep meaning to add like a little GIF and all kinds of stuff, but I never do it. Scott Harris says, I love this guy. Been a subscriber a while. If I lived in California instead of Virginia, I'd totally smoke with you, sir. I appreciate that, Scott. Thanks for being subscribed. Thanks for wanting to smoke with me. Maybe if you're ever out on vacation, I can come smoke you out in Long Beach. You should always visit Southern California, especially this time of the year where the rest of the country is freezing. And, today was like 65 degrees and sunny here. Okay, speaking of changing cameras, I'm going to do precisely that. And I'm going to make some more Volcano. See you in just a second. I hit the wrong button. So now I have a bunch of weed refuse. Meaning I'm just going to have to make up a fresh batch. Just like Grandma used to make out on the orchard in the old country. Oh, I wasn't paying attention to that at all and just got that all over the table. Believe it or not, my hand-eye coordination goes down the higher I get. Weird. Oh, this is the tincture I was talking about earlier, by the way. Mary's Medicinals, The Remedy, THC. There's 1,000 milligrams of THC supposedly in this little bottle. I've done what would be an equivalent, they say, of about 75 milligrams, and it seemed to be that. So for $60, this is a hell of a good value. Hint, hint, clue, clue on maybe a future review. Okay, gotta get the reefer. Guys, I've been playing Monster Hunter again. I played Monster Hunter World. I played a shit ton of it when it launched on, Xbox and PlayStation 2 years ago, January of 2018. And then just, after like playing it like crazy for 6 weeks, I fell off and, moved on to other things as people do. But recently picked it back up on PC, started over, and I have got that bug bitten all over again. Now they have a wonderful expansion out. There is something about that gameplay loop that is, speaking of crack, very crack-like. I cannot fall out of that addiction. That loop of go out, hunt a monster, use those parts from the monster to get stronger to hunt bigger monsters, to then go out and use parts from that monster to hunt bigger monsters, and so on and so forth, ad infinitum. It's great. And it's only great because the combat is so incredibly satisfying in it. It's one of the most satisfying combat systems ever. It is so fun to kill a big, or, hunt a big T-Rex looking motherfucker. Man, good for Capcom. They have really turned it around this generation. It seems like everything Capcom makes now is kind of gold. They've fixed the Resident Evils, starting with 7, and now they've got Remake 2, which was incredible, and now Remake 3. They've got their Monster Hunters. They're on all cylinders, that Capcom. It's been a while since the days of Bionic Commando remake, where you play a soldier. I mean, there's an original Bionic Commando for the NES, and there was a remake on the last gen, 360, PS3 era. That's the game where you have like a robot arm. And in that game, which is not a good game, so you have like a Spider-Man style grapple robot arm. It's not very good, not very fun, doesn't play very well. The twist is at the end, your like wife's soul has been transferred into your robot arm, and so your like wife is with you now forever in your big scary grapple robot arm. Really dumb game. Thanks for listening to that story, and I'll see you guys on that other side. One day I will make a sound effect and a GIF and all kinds of higher production value things. Maybe. Oh, I'm back. Good to see everybody. Okay, I am gonna move way down in chat. I'm just gonna get caught up. Okay, Matt Bone, welcome, Matt Bone. Still very fun to say. Cheers, everyone from Oregon. He says, thanks for joining us from the, what is Oregon's state motto again? I can't remember. The Evergreen State. Is that right? Are you guys that can't be right. Welcome, thanks for joining us from the Evergreen State. Maybe. Who knows? Scott Harris says, what is your occupation? Well, I was, excuse me for that rudeness, I was a science writer. I wrote you took academic sort of writing about science, physics, chemistry, often neurology for me. I was topic I wrote a lot about under other people's headings. And then would take that stuff and then translate it for a mass audience. So you read through all the academic jargon and bullshit and, find out how to explain something from whatever papers or conferences or whatever to Joe Schmo. However, I just did a massive adult internshipy thing where I am now trained as a mental health rehabilitation specialist. Yeah, so that's cool too. But have not started working professionally as in that field. Still wrapping up other things. Forrest Lynn 20 says, is that a Volcano, a hybrid, or an original? It is the original digital, not the original knob. It is not the hybrid one with like the hookah pipe. I have not tried one of those. I'm eager to give one a shot. I've heard mixed things about them. However, I've also heard that the heating element is supposed to be like 10 times faster than my Volcano model, which has me really interested. But I don't know if that's true, and I'm really still very satisfied with the one I have. Peter Griffin says, are you a Tom Cruise fan? Who isn't a Cruise fan, Mr. Griffin? Of course I'm a Tom Cruise fan, whatever that actually means. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of him as a human being. I'm not even sure I'm necessarily a fan of most of his acting, but every now and then the dude does something really quite incredible, like a Magnolia performance, a Tropic Thunder performance. I would still say a Risky Business performance. He does seem to be like a certifiable lunatic. Excuse me for that sort of loaded term. But he, as a action movie star, goddamn, those last 3 Mission Impossible movies were fucking incredible. And he was a part of the reason why those movies were incredible. But he can also be irritating and bad, like War of the Worlds style Tom Cruise, or what's another sort of generic action? Jack Reacher Tom Cruise. So, do I like him? Qualified, yes. Long answer to that question. Peter Griffin says he's a really good actor. He is a good actor in certain circumstances. I totally agree. Yes. Matt Bone says, what's your thoughts on the PAX era cartridge? I quite like them, Matt Bone. They would be right in the middle of the pod hierarchy, in my opinion. There's Steezy, PAX, and Plug and Play are the three probably biggest pods in this area. And I would put PAX right in the middle of those two. It's probably got the best, the most diverse lineup of cartridges, because they partner with a lot of different brands and farms and things. So they have a whole bunch of different strains and styles to choose from. But, and I think the battery is a lot better, and the pod design is a lot better than Steezy as well. But it doesn't compare to the sort of holy shitness that is Plug and Play. Peter Griffin says he believes in Scientology. Not only does he believe in Scientology, Peter Griffin, he is one of the biggest, one of the sort of largest, or not, the highest ranking members in the religion of Scientology. He's not just a member. He's like, he's a fucking, archbishop or cardinal or I don't know Catholic hierarchy, but you know what I mean. And I'm certain that those don't aren't translatable in any way as well. The sort of hierarchy of Scientology and Catholicism. Although they're both equal amounts of bullshit. And the only reason Scientology sounds crazier than Christianity is because it's been around longer. The only reason Catholicism sounds less crazy than Scientology is because Catholicism has existed for 2,000 years. But if maybe it didn't, and maybe somebody just tried to create Catholicism today, maybe people would think it's just as fucking crazy as, any other religion that we mock. But that's true for the whole Abrahamic tradition, that's not just Christianity, we got to go with the whole Abrahamic umbrella, the Islamic faith, Judaism, Christianity, the whole 9 yards. Controversial opinions, hot takes here today. Ooh, that is going to get me in some trouble. Okay. Lucas Loy says, good, I caught you vaping on my Volcano as well. Ah, nice. Says, wanted to ask you, have you tried the Mary's Medicinals 250 milligram tincture? Just curious. Lucas Loy, what a crazy coincidence. I was just talking about the Mary's Medicinal tinctures. I am currently in the middle using their 1,000 milligram tincture. Have not used their 250 milligram. And find their 1,000 milligrams to be a pretty good value. If you can find the 250 milligram at a reasonable price, I'd say it's probably gonna be worth it. But again, I have not tried it for sure. The 250 milligrams, only the 1,000 formulation, and it's no complaints there. Peter Griffin says, interesting, sir, politics and marijuana seem to mix well. I'd like to think so. Andrew Silva says, hey, Wheats, what is your favorite Afro Man song? Afro Man coming back around for another round here in the chat. And I'll stick with the only one that I know, which is Because I Got High. But how could anybody complain with that being your favorite? Because it's a complete classic. Video game boomer without two O's says, do you listen to Afro Man? Another Afro Man mention. I am not a current listener of Mr. Afro Man. I have no problems or complaints with Afro Man. I just, one, don't listen to a lot of music, and two, have not heard Afro Man, I am pretty sure, since I was in high school. That might not be true. I just don't know I don't know any, excuse me, I don't know any Afro Man songs other than Because I Got High. Maybe Because I Got High. Hey, Grovel, what's up, man? How are you doing? Welcome. Andrew Silva says, Afro Man is the best when you're high. I would assume that has to be the case. I kind of want to play some Smash Brothers. I've got my Switch now hooked up to my, I got my capture card going. I just can't think, does anybody out there in chat want to play, like, any Switch games online? I have practically everything. And it could be a nice change of pace. Oh. Oh, Grovel said, I watched that movie you recommended, The Art of Self-Defense. It was an awesome movie. Grovel, I'm glad you checked it out, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. It is, I have nothing but great things to say about it. I love how, I am struggling again to describe the how idiosyncratic like the movie is. It is its own little movie in its own little universe, telling its own little weird story, and I love it. I couldn't love it more, and I just anytime a movie makes a universe that odd and that specific, as you know what I'm talking about, Grovel, it's just there's some weird things going on that they don't bother to, not bother, they don't feel like the need to explain. And I just love those details. I just eat that kind of stuff up. And boy, one of the greatest climaxes, one of the best endings of the year for sure in movies too. That ending, I have such strong feelings about the ending of that movie, Grovel. I don't really want to, I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to spoil it for people, but I think the ending of that movie is such a great message that is kind of hidden in there. Or not hidden, it's pretty plain, but I don't know. It's not incredibly obvious what they were. I don't think it's incredibly obvious what he was trying to say initially, but when you think about what the implications of that ending are and what Jesse Eisenberg says, the speech he gives, I think is so great. It's one of the greatest anti-bullying, sort of authoritarian screes I've heard in such a narratively tight little package too. It's a perfect narrative ending in addition to being a really thoughtful sort of social commentary about power and authority and who gets to define the rules. Yeah, I love it. I love The Art of Self-Defense. So great. Lucas Loy says, I'm considering purchasing the Obsidian by Magma for my volcano. Have you checked it out? It's a boresilicate water adapter between the chamber and the volcano bag. $160, but the reviews sound great. I have not heard of it. I am going to Google it right now, Lucas. I am very curious. I don't know what this is at all. Okay. Make your volcano active. Ooh. Wow, it's a fancy looking piece of glass. Device info. What is magma and obsidian made out of? I would guess probably some obsidian. Magma is constructed from an FDA-approved food and water-safe, high-temperature resistant synthetic polymer resin. The material's properties are identical to the black ring that surrounds your volcano's heating element, and that your easy valve herbal chamber rests on during use. It imparts no taste or smell, so you get every bit of flavor from all of your herbs and essential oils. Magma's parts are assembled using a state-of-the-art ultrasonic welding process to ensure hermetic seals without using any solvents, and a perfect fit every time. I'm trying to, what is not answered for me, I guess, Lucas, is what purpose does it serve? Percolation experience for the volcano. Oh, here we are. Water pipes have bubblers. The volcano has magma. Here's what it does. Reduce temperature, increase humidity, maximize efficiency. Make your volcano active. Magma and obsidian allows you to enjoy every last bit of your herbs or essential oils by cooling and humidifying your otherwise hot and dry vapor before it enters your bag. Using magma and obsidian gives you more bags per session and eliminates herbal waste due to non-vaporization. Never irritate your throat or lungs again and experience maximum efficiency with magma and obsidian by Magma Industries. Wow, that actually sounds incredibly great. I am super interested, Lucas Loy. I have not heard anybody use it. I am now actively interested. Anything that would cool the vapor is really desirable in my point by my book. So thank you. Yeah, I will look into it. That sounds awesome. Again, that is really cool. I will take a look at it. Neat. Thank you again for bringing that up, Lucas Loy. And guys, with that, I'm going to rest this warm throat. I got a lot of volcano going through. Got a lot of heated vapor. Gotta try this new thing to cool it down. My pleasure, Lucas Loy. I'm gonna use this time to take off. It has been wonderful hanging out and getting high with everybody as always. I really do promise to put a schedule up and stick to it. I'm working on it. We'll get there. Until then, thanks for hanging out. I'll be back soon. We'll get high again in the future, everybody. Good night, guys. Thanks again.